Well, hopefully we'll go live in just a moment. We'll see. Oh, there we are. Nice. All right, waiting for the stream to show up. Okay, we are live, and how are you doing out there, YouTube land? Let me refresh my screen so I can make sure that I've got a live stream. Okay, hey. Hi, my name is Aaron Linsdau. I'm the author of The Most Crucial Knots to Know, dum dum dum, working on writing this book here for you. That way you can actually enjoy the book and understanding the most crucial knots to know, 40 plus knots on how to tie it for campers, survivalists, and preppers, which might be you. So today I'm going to be working on, which knot am I working on? I'm going to be working on the timber hitch here, and you can actually see that the timber hitch is going to be a super useful knot for you to ever attach and drag things. I'll show you a different knot that might be useful if you have to lift a pipe. And hopefully you'll be able to see something here, and I'm going to just start working. Hopefully a couple of viewers pop in. I never know what's going to happen out here. But it's definitely a fun experience to do a live stream if nothing else. Stream health, stream is healthy. Okay, cool. Analytics, let's get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Adobe InDesign and Photoshop and Lightroom concurrently, work all three together, and show you what it's like to actually work on writing one of these books. It's a guidebook, just like my other books. Oh, lots of work. The Total Eclipse Guides, Adventure Expedition 1. Guess I should put this right side up. Right side up there, you can see that. Jackson Hole Hiking Guide, man, that thing was crazy amount of work. But just give you an idea of what all it takes to make one of these. I've got my lavalier, so hopefully the audio sounds good and clear. And let's look forward to it. If you've got, let's see, subscribers only mode, anyone can send a message here in the chat. So if you've got anything you want to tell me, it'll pop up in my display here in a few moments. And that way we can have a little bit of conversation as I work on this. So let's get started. Switching over, turning picture in picture. Alrighty. So today I'm working on the timber hitch. And let me grab a piece of rope here. And I will show you the glories of the timber hitch momentarily. So timber hitch is very simple to tie. You simply twist it back. You set up the rope like this. You twist it back on itself. Spin it around a couple times. And then tighten the knot. And of course on this loose, smooth pull, the knot will pull off. But if you're pulling logs or anything heavy, you'll see that the knot grips itself. On a smooth pull, this is not the best choice. You should use a pipe hitch, but I failed to put a tree in my office today. But you can also, once you've got this hitch attached here, you can pull a loop down. There we go. And then you can actually use this to guide and pull a log or any other round object that is not smooth, because you can see the knot loosens up. So this is a key item if you ever want to tie to a rough surface or irregular surface. The timber hitch is the way to go. It's a great knot. It's one of my favorites back from my scouting days, like 40 plus years ago. I'm getting old. I kind of like that. Still alive. All right, picture in picture set. So what I'm going to do is just get the knots set up on the page here and go along. Now, one of the things about when I'm photographing these is getting these poles exactly parallel is not that easy, and you can see here that the pole is not perfectly parallel to horizontal. So all I do is fix and twist this guy maybe half a degree. Nope, half a degree is too much. Maybe a quarter of a degree. Yeah, maybe 0.3. Make it a 0.3. There we go. Got that squared up. This is what takes a lot of the time working on guidebooks, is getting all those fine tunes and tweaks. And it's very easy to blow it off, but boy, once you get your book and you look at it and man, I wish I would have blankety blank whatever fixed it. Man, let me tell you, you want to fix everything you can in your book, because there's nothing like immortalizing a mistake forever. Especially when people have these books on the shelf. It's actually pretty entertaining. I have books from major publishers that have mistakes in them that I've seen. And it's, I would say, not a critique, because nowadays nobody can really afford to have 5 editors working on a book. It's just the nature of the beast. I wish it would be kind of nice to do that. Alrighty. What I'm going to do is enlarge the pictures here. So the whole goal of this book is to make the pictures as large as possible and make it as easy as possible for viewers and purchasers of this book to read, understand, and tie their own knots. That's the whole goal of the book, is I want to make you able to tie the knots that you want and the knots that you need, whether it's in a home activity like putting up a clothesline, maybe tying up a bag, or something a little more exciting like going out and camping or hunting, or if you're a prepper or one of those folks that lives in a place where you think the world's going to end, because as 2020 and 2021 has shown us, that is not, I wouldn't say the world's not going to end, but that is definitely a major consideration, which is actually terribly sad, and it's not that funny, but what are you going to do, laugh at your cruel fate or cry at your cruel fate? I prefer the laugh, simply because I want to feel dopamine, not cortisol, in the experience. Now, do I laugh at people's pain? Heck no, never laugh at people's pain. And there's lots of pain in the world, and I do not want to do that. Okay, standing and running in, or standing part. So this is one of the things about ropes that's very annoying, is you have a lot of, shall we say, a lot of directions where standing part and running in and standing in, and sounds like Greek to me, but when you're tying a knot, whether it's the basic overhand knot or something more serious, the running end, this end of the rope, is the one that does stuff. So if I'm tying a simple overhand knot, the running end does all the action, and it makes the knot, and the standing part is where nothing really happens. It's just attached to wherever. So standing part and running end, it's a little bit of lingo that you have to learn in there, but I've put those pieces of lingo in the book. That way it's more accessible, so when I do stuff and explain these directions, it's much easier for you to understand. All right, so we've got this, and get my directions here. 1, wrap the running end around and behind the pole. Okay. Zoom in. Now, as you see, you might see me clicking and whipping around. Hopefully that doesn't make you too dizzy, because of course my goal here is to be efficient. This isn't a teaching class. If you want to learn InDesign, I do have a class. Remind me, and I'll put a link below to my InDesign course. So if you want to learn what nonfiction is like, then you'll realize, wow, I don't want to do that. There's a lot to learn in InDesign. Adobe InDesign is probably Adobe's second most complex software after After Effects. That thing is crazy. Let's see, wrap the running in, and around the front of the pole. Now, depending on the pictures I have, copy this. If you use the shortcut key, the Option, or the Alt key, whoa. Oh, I just lost my, where am I working? Oh, I just got lost. I love touching my mouse and it whips around. There we go. Okay, step 1. Step 2. Alrighty. Okay, step 2, step 3, and step 4 have to come down here somewhere. Now the funny thing about editing these books is thread the running end in between the loop and the pole. Okay. 4, begin twisting the running end around itself to create a spiral. Okay. What I'm going to do is get the directions out of the way here. Oops. Directions number 3, directions number 4. Okay. Now, as I'm writing this, some of the complexities of actually, let's see, I'm telling my mom I'm doing a live stream. She loves to watch this stuff. This stream right now. So definitely, if nothing else, if your mom doesn't support you, you're in trouble. But my mom is highly supportive of all these crazy things I do. She doesn't really like that I go out in the woods and hang out with the grizzly bears, but she's still a good sport about stuff. So is my dad, of course. Hey, Dad. How you doing? All right. Okay. And what I'm doing is I'm just enlarging the pictures, and I keep tuning them, tweaking them, and making them as large as I possibly can. There's no reason to have small pictures in this book. It's going to be a 5.5 by 8.5 book. So just a little bit smaller than the 6 by 9, but the photos are going to be plenty large. That way you can see what you got going there. And hopefully, the goal of this book is to make it better than any of the other books on the market. So it's not that you only just have some illustrations, but you have real photographs that you can refer to. And you can enjoy the experience. And most importantly, figure out how to tie all these crazy knots like the timber hitch. Okay. Now I've got plenty of space. I'm going to enlarge this. There we go. And let's see, my top chat. Yeah, if you've got something you want to chat about, just type it into the chat on the side, and I will see it up on my main screen in a moment here. And I will be able to reply to whatever comments or questions or whatever you might have that is purging your mind there or pestering your mind. I'm not doing any philosophy today, which is okay. Probably don't want to hear my philosophies. They're not too bad. Let's see. Of course, everybody always thinks that. And that would be my dryer buzzing. Can you hear the dryer? Hopefully not. Hey, cool. Okay, that's great. Great. Thank you. Nice. So I got my mom watching, Vicky Linsdau. She just popped on and said I'm watching. Totally cool. Love it. Hi, Mom. Thank you so much for popping in and watching. Okay. I'll zoom back in. And hopefully, as you're watching this video, it's not nauseating as I'm whipping around the screen. Okay, right. I keep saying okay because I'm just trying to really fill up the channel with some sound so you hear more than just the clicking of my mouse on the keyboard. This isn't a silent movie. You gotta actually have some sound to keep people engaged. All right, move it up. There we go. Wrap around the pole. Step 3 on the timber hitch here. Now, once you align something on or in InDesign, and it's aligned to the guides will actually turn green. And that gives me an indication of what's going on, which is really nice. Wrap them running in around the pole. Thread loops, okay. And this is the key photo right here. This is the loose knot photo of the timber hitch. And this is the one where you can see most of what's going on. And then I have the tightened version of the timber hitch. So you can see what it looks like when it's completely compressed. And you can see here the angle of this pole is not perfect, so I will move it, I think all negative, oops, negative 0.3, maybe it's 0.3. There we go. All of my photographs are super close, but they are not perfect. They never are. The amount of Photoshop work that goes into these things is mind-boggling. Don't ever think, oh, hey, that's an original photo, because it's not. I am working on the 50 photography hotspots of Jackson Hole. Those are real photos. Those are not going to be modified or tweaked or whatever. But right now I'm working on the just the knot guide here, the most crucial knots to know. But if you want to check out my book that's forthcoming this spring, the 50 photography hotspots of Jackson Hole, that will be coming out too. I will, negative 0.3, nope, because it's 0.3 this time. I will be doing some live streams of editing that book as well, might as well, because it seems like people are very interested in what I'm doing here, which I totally like. I really appreciate you guys popping on here. And let's see, oh hey, Woof, was it Woof359? Looking forward to your cold camping video later today. Plan to try some of that this winter. Thank you very much, Woof359, for checking out my videos. Really appreciate the support. So Woof359, thanks for the comment there. Always appreciate people checking out. And if you're not a subscriber, if you had the chance, click the subscribe button so you can end the notifications so you can check out the videos as they come live. I just posted a video today on, what did I post a video on today? I have to admit, I've got so many videos in the queue. That's content, what is it? Oh yeah, how to choose a sleeping bag for summer backpacking. Check out my regular posted videos. That one's pretty sweet, so you get an idea of what that's like. All right, back to business here. So now that I've got this fixed, make sure I can see the live chat there. Always looking for tips. Wolf359, thank you very much. Thank you very much for being a subscriber. Really appreciate that. Always looking for tips. If you've got questions about things about backpacking, especially in the cold, put it in the chat. I'll write it down real quick and I'll make a video. And definitely, if you give me something I can make a video about, I will definitely mention you in the video. Thank you very much. All right, put me in the lower left corner there. Okay, where are we? Ooh, that's almost perfect. Maybe 0.6. Nope, 0.8. Cool. All right. Now this knot is a little bit different because it does take up quite a bit of space on the screen, which makes it a little bit more difficult to edit. Now you can see here how the pole goes diagonally. No bueno. So I'm going to move this maybe 0.6. Let's see. Nope, maybe 0.8. Yeah, it's funny when I'm photographing these things in my studio, it all looks perfectly aligned in the viewfinder, but then when you come on the computer, you realize, yeah, 0.8 degrees off. It sure shows up when it's on a page. It's really quite surprising how dramatic that is. Pull this back down. There we go. And sometimes, okay, there we go. Step 8, step 5. All right, where are we? Step 5, step 6. And step 7. Okay. Of course I need to enlarge this a bit. And I'll just crop it off there and I'll move it towards the center. Not quite centered enough. That's okay. I'll just scoot it over so it still stays in the frame. There we go. How are we looking? When and where to use. Twisting around the spiral end. There we go. Tighten the knot. Okay. I'm going to have to squish this down just a bit. I need some more room for the text. Right. Okay, number 5. Tighten the knot by pulling on the standing part. The running in loop will, let's see, compress and hold fast on a rough log or surface. Okay, cool. And then step 6 doesn't have any instructions, but step 7, add a half hitch to the standing part. Stabilize the pull direction and make it easier to control the direction of the log being pulled. Okay, let's see how that looks. A little too cozy. Now that's the thing about InDesign, you have all these boxes and all this mess, but when I shut it off, it actually looks pretty clean, which is nice. Okay, wrap. Yeah, this gets a little crammed over here, but that's okay. So my box isn't perfect. There we go. The timber hitch is useful for pulling rough surface and other cylindrical items. It doesn't. This hitch does not hold well on smooth surfaces if you need to lift or drag a pipe. Use the pipe hitch. Use the pipe hitch. So I've got different knots in this book, whether you want to have a smooth pull like this, or a rough log. There are different knots. You don't want to do the pipe hitch on a rough log because it's a lot of work. The timber hitch is way easier to handle on timber, absolutely. Let's see. Okay. This knot doesn't bind at all and is easy to remove. Yeah, critically, do not use the timber hitch for overhead carry. Critical, super important for safety. And now we're going to make some drawings in Photoshop. We love Photoshop. Let's see, now we're going to need 3 things in Photoshop here. Edit original, okay. We're in Photoshop, okay. Don't need that. You, working on some of the other knots. Oh, some of my panels have disappeared. Of course. Shapes, characters, channels, layers, all right. So I need to shrink my window a little bit. That's one of the problems is I've got this 5K screen iMac, like your 4K TV, but 5K. And so when I go to live stream, it goes to 1080p, so everything looks huge. So I'm going to shrink it down and fiddle around with it a bit. It's pretty funny. Okay. So now, drawing 002, 01. All right, so 01C. So what I'm going to do is I copy some work that I've already done over to another image. That way I don't have to keep redoing stuff. It is not efficient to keep redoing stuff, as the whole point of the computer is not to have to redo stuff. And what I'm going to do is curve this around. Okay. No fill, stroke, color, oh, yellow, probably 40 point thickness, maybe 50 point. We'll see what that looks like in a minute. Add the old drop shadow so that is visible. This is one thing, let's see, find chord. Oh. Hey, Wolf359, you said I find different chords stay tight and others loosen up in the wind. It depends on the surface and the weaving of the line. If you look here, this, let's see, I don't know if it's going to focus, but hopefully, yeah, there you go. So this particular line has a rougher surface. The green line has a rougher surface compared to this orange line. The orange line is much stiffer, and man, that bad boy, it's hard to get it to hold stuff without certain knots. Compared to this green line is just, man, it'll bind up all sorts of ways. So depending on what I need, if I want a stiffer line or a looser line, because if I just tighten these up, you can see that the orange line generates a larger loop. So that's something to consider, is if you're having trouble with your lines, is get something a little more pliable and flexible. I mean, maybe that's obvious. I'm telling other people out there, but definitely the finer braid sheath cord here, this accessory cord, the 6mm, it's hard to work with, but this green particular accessory cord is super nice. So it's loosening up in the wind can be painful. That orange cord does not hold taut line hitches at all. The green does pretty well, so that's something to watch for. Hopefully that's helpful. All right. And actually, you know, now that you mention that, I should put that as a comment in the book as well. Thank you very much, Wolf359. Let's see, terminology. Also, different rope surfaces and stiffness may be loosen in the wind. I'll do the verbiage later. Loosen in the wind. Talk about this. So that's a good point. Thank you very much. I will add that to the book. Good points. That's why I like doing this live stream stuff with you folks, because you come up with other questions like, oh, dang, I totally didn't think of that. So Wolf359, I have to say, you've definitely got a piece of part of this book. Thank you very much for the thought there. It's very well appreciated. Square nut, where am I? Timber Hitch. Okay, back to Photoshop. Get my arrow corrected here. Ooh, too big. Now getting all the shadows and all that so it actually looks beautiful. So right now that's ugly and the line's supposed to pass behind and all sorts of glorious things. And what I'm going to do is correct the arrow position here. And then I will extract the drop shadow. Drop it down below, and voila, all of a sudden the arrow's drop shadow disappears behind the line. Pretty nice, but now the arrow and the line need to go behind the line. Oops. Oh yeah, okay. Oh wait, I already did that. What do I need to do? That's why I couldn't see it. is I need to add this masking layer to get rid of the drop shadow, because a drop shadow only means that something is on front of or in front of and not behind. So rather, I will drop this behind the line here and also do the shadow. Click, 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 lots of clicking. I always have this worry that I'm going to wear out my mouse at some critical moment and then I have to drive a couple hours to get another one because ordering online doesn't work or whatever's going on. But that's why I also have the trackpad that allows me to zoom. I use the zoom and the trackpad and then the mouse in general swiping. And if the mouse dies or the trackpad dies, I can definitely still survive. But boy, having that trackpad for zooming, that is a huge, huge boon to me. It makes me a lot faster. I do not click in and out on zooming. I just simply, here, watch. You can see the screen, maybe? Where am I? Yeah, there you go. So I can pinch zoom with this trackpad while using my mouse simultaneously. Let me tell you, that is a huge boon to me. And there you go. Now I put the arrow and the line behind there, and it looks much better. Oh, whoops. I drew it wrong. Crud. Guess I should pay more attention to what I'm doing. Okay, so we'll get rid of the drop shadow. Oh boy, that was funny. Yeah, I gotta put it through there. In fact, I need to make this arrow loop there. Okay. Easy to make mistakes, and that's why I pay editors to edit the books once I'm done with them, or at least I think I'm done, because you never know. For as many times as you read a book and you think you've got that thing dialed flat, let me tell you, you will find mistakes, oops, you will find mistakes galore that you never even knew existed. It's kind of annoying. You always think, you being me or any other human, we always think we're perfect and like to just go on our merry way, but let me tell you, it doesn't work that way, and you can always tell when somebody has not had an outside editor editing their book. Woo, boy. I just went to the 20 books to 50K conference. Love it. I am actually a publisher, and I am an author, so I wear multiple hats, even though I don't have a hat on at the moment. And there are some people who clearly did not pay to have their books edited. I did see one speaker in 2019, she was saying, other than a copy and line edit, don't get editors, but my experience has been an editor is very well worth their money. If nothing else, just to find your obvious mistakes and save you from some embarrassment. Because the whole goal of this is to put out a good product so people can use and enjoy it. And there we go. Okay. Now I can correct that. Good. Okay, so yeah, messed up the loop there. Okay, how are we doing? That drops through there. Twist it around. Okay, that looks pretty good. Actually, not too bad. Grips for surfaces. Half hitch standing. Yeah, now one of the problems is trying to draw lines on this part of the drawing. All it's going to do is end up in a total blob, so I just leave this here. But one thing I'm going to do to make this more visible is you can see that the contrast of one line versus the other is not that great. So if I use the overlay mode, make it a 30% brush, and just darken this up, I can actually make the line that goes over appear as though it really goes over. So when I zoom back out, you can see the difference here. It's pretty surprising how different that can be. So just adding a little shadow gives humans a depth cue that something is in front of or behind each other. And now hopefully, as I correct that, there we go. That looks much better. And I'm going to need to do that on this image as well. Okay, so we do the overlay. And this is a Photoshop secret. Instead of using the dodge burn tool, if you use the overlay mode, you can non-destructively dodge and burn on an image. And that way, if you don't like the dodging and burning, it's non-destructive and you can completely change it or delete it or erase it without ruining the original image. And that is a key thing because the goal of Photoshop is not to draw on your original layers, but to use more layers. When I first started with Photoshop, I dreaded and almost, I would say, hated layers. But as I learned and grew up using the software, and whether you use Photoshop or GIMP or whatever your favorite editing software might be, see the difference there? It's pretty surprising when I click it off and then click it back on. Shadows, baby. Right, and then watch before and then after. Beautiful. So yeah, it took me a while to learn to appreciate layers in Photoshop, but now that I do, I go layer crazy and it makes a huge difference. That was the taut line hitch and the stevedore knot, by the way. The taut line hitch is not done, the stevedore knot is. All right, so I need to add some shadowing here. And you might say, why didn't I have shadows in the first place? Well, so the reason I don't have shadows in the first place is I use pretty flat lighting, so I didn't get a weird, uncontrollable shadow because I wasn't exactly sure what the best orientation of these images would be in the book. So if I have a shadow on the top where light appears to be coming from the bottom, it looks really weird. It messes humans up because we're, from day one, or as soon as you saw the sun as a baby, you've seen the sun top down, so the spooky lighting where you do the this spooky Halloween lighting like this. Woo. Oh wait, it's already shut off. Let's try that again. Yes, the spooky Halloween lighting. It's spooky because it's not natural for us to have lighting. It's no big deal, but this sort of lighting up top is all the difference. So that is something to be aware of, and that's why I did flat lighting photography. Is I didn't know what orientation or anything I was going to end up with some of these images, because you can plan all day of, hey, I'll fix this, I'll fix that, and you can try and plan it, and I do my best to outline and structure it, but when you get into the thick of the meat of the matter, all of a sudden, as they say in the military, the plan does not survive the first battle. It gets you going, but that's about as far as you get, and then you discover the other things you forgot or didn't realize, and that's just the nature of writing books. Just like when I was working on my Jackson Hole hiking guide, I thought I had everything dialed in, I was ready to rock, and then I realized I wasn't, and discovered all sorts of errors and inefficiencies in my system that I since fixed. Oops, there seems to be a missing piece of wood here. That's not good. Okay, there we go. And now my glorious shadows. Yeah, much better. Okay, now we've got better shadows. Oh, I'm gonna have to add shadows here. Oh my gosh. So that is the problem. Oops. That is the big problem with photographing in shadowless light or near shadowless light, is you were committed to adding all the shadows back later. But I can always add the shadows in, but once the shadows are in there, removing the shadows is exceedingly difficult and annoying, if not impossible. This I knew that I can always add shadows in with this dodge burn technique, which is much better than the damaging destructive dodge burn. But once the shadows are in, there was no way I was going to get those out, and I didn't want to have to Photoshop correct those. That I've had to do it, and I've learned from experience not to do it. And this, even though it seems painful, is far less painful than trying to get rid of stuff that it basically can't get rid of. I would literally, if I did a bunch of shadow photography, I would be back in my studio re-photographing these 40 plus knots and hitches in my the most crucial knots to know book, and I do not want to do that. Do I not want to do that? Yeah, pretty much. All right, so adding more shadows. And I found I did miss the Albright knot in my initial list, and that Albright knot is a key list if you're going fishing and you need to attach two lines. The Albright knot is the knot to use. Ironically, the double fisherman's is not strong enough to tie, oops, missed that one, to tie two monofilament or fluorocarbon or braided lines together. It just is not good enough. It's good for thicker ropes or accessory cord or climbing ropes, but no bueno, so I needed to add in the Albright knot, which means I'm going to be in the studio later this afternoon. And that's just unfortunately the way it is. Okay, how's that look? Shadows, glorious, glorious shadows. Okay, now we're going to clear the mess and let's take a look at this. Okay, pulling apart, half hitches. Oh, standing part and running end. Yeah, those arrows are messed up. Starting to get hungry, but I'm almost done with this. I don't think you want to see me eating. That's pretty gross. Okay, standing part, running end. Oh, arrow's not quite right. Cool. And just like when I worked on my other books, Adventure Expedition 1, my expedition book, same sort of work goes into it. Not only the text, but the pictures and working with Dr. Terry Williams. Yeah, check out a link below. In the description, I've got all of my books. So if you want to see the different books, maybe they'll be helpful to you, maybe not. I hope they would be, especially if you're an outdoor adventurer, outdoorsman, or hunter, prepper, survivalist, camper, backpacker, or a general traveler, or somebody that likes to actually tie stuff up. Okay, that looks pretty glorious. Nice. Let's see, how long do we have on this? 12 o'clock, so we've done, how long has my live stream been going? Stream settings, analytics, viewer, stream health, everything looks good. Alrighty, I think we'll close this up. Thank you very much for watching. Let me pull this up for you. 8245. So this has been me, Aaron Linsdau, Polar Explorer, working on my book, The Most Crucial Knots to Know. Please check out links below to my other books: Antarctic Tears, Lost at Windy Corner, Adventure Expedition 1, The Jackson Hole Hiking Guide, The Most Crucial Knots to Know, the 2024 Total Eclipse Guides, and the forthcoming 50 photography hotspots in Jackson Hole. I think that's all I've written. Oh, and how to keep your feet warm in the cold. Super critical for my cold weather audience. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and comment on the video and subscribe to the channel if you found it enjoyable or just think it's pretty entertaining. Thank you very much and take care.